Oh dear. Can't quite get this microphone right today. It'll work, I suppose. Let's just get on with it, shall we? Hello everybody and welcome to another Doctor Who review. This time I'm doing a review of Matt Smith's era and I'm doing the Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang. At New Year's I said I'd need to do a couple more new series this year and maybe do a bit of Capaldi and a bit of Jodie Whittaker as well, and I will do later in the year, but I thought I'd start off with the finale of Series 5. Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang. Tale of Two Halves, I think, is probably the best way here. Obviously, the plot line, just to quickly go into it, I'm not reading any synopsis because it's a modern series one and not a old classic series. And so I've only got the television companion up to the TV movie, so I don't have anything automatically I can read. So just quickly go into the basics of the plot. The Doctor, Amy, travel back, get a message through time to go back to Roman times 102 AD to Stonehenge, where they find a mystical thing called the Pandorica hidden underneath Stonehenge. And the Doctor is trying to find out what the hell it is and realises there's lots of his enemies up in the sky waiting to come down and take the Pandorica from him. At least you think so. And they end up as a trap for him. And then as soon as the Doctor goes into there, the TARDIS blows up and the universe dies, apart from Earth, which we find out the next time round. And after a little bit of convoluted wibbly wobbly stuff to get to the present day in the National Museum. 1996 in the National Museum, isn't it? Yeah. We have the situation where young Amelia Pond, gets told to go to the museum by the Doctor, and they open up Pandorica, and there's Amy, which is interesting. Amy was killed off by Rory, who turned out to be a Auton in the previous episode. Oh yeah, no, this is the nature of Moffat stuff, and this is the easiest one to follow, and I'm still getting confused, and it's just like, oh, Jesus. And then it takes another 20 minutes or so. The Doctor manages to figure out how to save the universe by flying the Pandorica with him in it into the TARDIS, into the explosion where the TARDIS is. River gets saved from there, because River gets stuck in the TARDIS in a kind of emergency lockout. The Doctor saves her. They come out. The Doctor flies into Pandorica. The whole universe and time restores itself. And then the Doctor starts deleting himself because he's in the centre of it, so he needs to be removed from time. And the next 20 minutes are spent with that. And then Amy remembering him at her wedding and resetting everything that way. So yeah, quite a lot to take in. Quite a quick bit to take in. And my explanation is probably as rabbiting as what you get on screen. It's a little bit confusing at times. Overall, though, it's an interesting romp. The first episode's better than the second. It builds up quite well in the first episode, the Pandorica Opens, because you've got this mystery. It opens up with Van Gogh going in his last moments of madness, and they find the painting of the TARDIS blowing up, which is what the T-shirt is I've got on here. As you can see here, that's the T-shirt, which I got from the Doctor Who Experience last time I was in Cardiff. Link to the vlog up there. I'm always plugging myself. That didn't sound right, but never mind. So yes, so the first story is like a ploy and a build-up, and it utilises characters from the series. You've got Liz 10 that comes back, who's guarding the National Museum where the painting's kept in the future. You've got Winston Churchill, who finds a painting in World War II and keeps it safe for national importance. You've then got the situation with River, who escapes from the storm cage to find the painting and then travels back to 1002 AD, Roman times, passing as Cleopatra, so they can get the Doctor here, draws the Doctor here. She vandalises the most well-known wall in the universe, the Time Coordinates, and says "Hello, sweetie" on it, which is interesting. The Doctor then goes back to the Roman times with Amy. They go to Stonehenge, go under Stonehenge, find the Pandorica. And we find this elaborate plot of all his enemies trying to take the Doctor away because they think he's the cause of time splitting and splintering. And of course he isn't. It's the TARDIS. but it causes the whole issue of time going backwards and deleting itself, and the Earth only being secured because it was the epicenter, and the TARDIS was what's keeping it warm, the explosion of the TARDIS, but things are starting to fall apart by the time of the return. Rory turns out to be an Auton who kills Amy through the conditioning that he has. He didn't want to, he tried to fight it, but he still killed her. Amy then gets stuck in the Pandorica, Potter back, and oh yeah, that's me going over the plot again, just try and get through it. But yeah, it's an interesting first episode anyway, and it's a nice line up to the epic ending, and it's kind of like, ooh, how is he going to get out of this one? And then the second episode's a bit of timey-wimey, a little bit clever timey-wimey. I love the bits jumping where he's jumping between the present day, as we see it at that point, and back to Rory in 11 and 10 and 102 AD. I can't even get the dates right. 102 AD, telling bits and pieces about what to do with Amy, and then coming back, and the nicking of the drink from a meteor early in the day to later in the day, and all this. And it is an interesting little plot device, and I'm actually kind of glad that all that timey-wimey stuff was taken away and sorted within about 20 minutes, because it leaves the next 20-25 minutes to have a slow decline down of the Doctor going through his lifetime of his 11th self. He realises obviously you go back completely back, so he goes to Amelia, plants the seed of Amy remembering him, and then disappears, and then Amy lives her life as normal. She has her parents again, which she didn't have at the beginning, and then she marries Rory, and then at the reception she starts to remember the Doctor more. River leaves her book, her diary there. Amy remembers. The Doctor comes back. It's a nice little way of calming down the series. All these things are tied together in the last episode, in the previous episode more or less, and then it's a decent resolution. It's not the best, but it's a decent resolution. I think it's not too bad. Could be a lot worse, but it's not the worst. It's not the best. The plot line is a little bit snaky, but I think it actually works overall. I think it does work overall in regards to what it's doing, setting up a lot of things, and it has a decent payoff. But it's not the best, and the stakes have been raised even higher because now the universe has been destroyed, because the whole point of Moffat's kind of trumped what Russell T Davies did the previous 4 series. So it's getting a bit interesting now how he does the fix going forward, and yeah, I'll go into that more in other reviews in the future. But overall, I quite liked it. I think it's quite fun. You got Matt Smith, who's certainly his powers of the Doctor at this point, and I do enjoy his portrayal of the Doctor in this. Very zany, very off the wall. This Doctor's incarnation plays on the time travel and the sci-fi element a bit more than the others do. I love the fact he's a little bit more alien again, because obviously with Tennant and Eccleston they were more humanised in various points, and I love the fact the Doctor's a bit more weird and wonderful, and it does set up well for later stories and later things you see. Overall, Karen Gillan does a solid performance as Amy, of course. She seems to do a solid performance most of the way through, and it's actually good seeing the nuances of emotion, because Amy's either one of grumpy or not in most of the series, and this one's quite nuanced because she's intrigued about she's there as a companion. She's obviously settled, but Karen plays it well. She certainly plays it better in the second episode. I think she's good with emotional punch. Then we got Arthur Darvill, who has made Rory out to be a bit of an uncomfortable person to be around. He's a bit uncomfortable around people, rather, and he plays it well. But you actually get some spine to Rory this time around, because he's stubborn, and you show Rory's love for Amy, and how the fact he'll be the lone Centurion, he'll keep an eye on her for 2,000 years until the Pandorica can be recovered properly. And he keeps an eye on it and everything else, which is really good. I love the fact that he can still be Autony at this point, which is interesting. It seems to indicate that when time resets, he goes back to being human, which I think's an interesting point. But he does remember everything. It's strange, it's weird, but it's just the way the timey-wimey works for Doctor Who, I suppose, sometimes. And then we got Alex Kingston, who makes the main other guest cast appearance here of River Song. And it's interesting how the Doctor's still trying to get to grasp where River is in her timeline and bits and pieces. And you can see he's starting to get used to the idea of River, but there's still not quite enough. And that little thing at the end, she says, oh, you'll find out very soon and everything will be different. Obviously, we know in hindsight what that is, but at the time you're going, ooh, that's interesting. You've alluded to her being married as well, to the Doctor possibly. Ooh, that's interesting. But Alex Kingston does a good job as always. I like the characters. She's quite quirky. But she certainly, you see the more serious side of her this time than the fun side you saw a couple of times before. And I like it. I think it's quite cool, and I think it's a good little portrayal. I think you probably know what the writing's going to be like with this. It's okay. It's all right. The direction's okay. Toby Haynes does a good job of what he's got. The first appearance of the Fez in Doctor Who for since Silver Nemesis. The Doctor's worn a Fez before, but this is the first time he makes it as a proper accessory. Oh God, Silver Nemesis, I've got to review that at some point. Oh dear. That's a good accessory, I suppose. But overall, yeah, the direction's quite good from Toby Hayes, quite solid, quite standard. He does well with the direction, with the time hopping bit, and overall it's quite a solid direction. There's not really much I can comment on it. And the music, yeah, Murray Gold isn't bombastic yet. He's starting to get that, and the Doctor's theme is starting to be a bit more prominent and will be used a lot more as he gets lazier as time goes on. But at this point, there's still enough newness in the motifs he's using here to make it an interesting setup and an interesting story. And yeah, overall, it's not a bad little thing. Overall, though, I'm going to give this review and this story. I've been thinking about what I do with this. 3.5 TARDISes out of 5. It's okay. It's not take your brain out. It's not one you just take your brain out and watch, but it's certainly an interesting story, an interesting review, and certainly one that I would want to. I'd go back to. It's been a while since I saw it when I've watched it for this review. It's not too bad, but yeah, it's okay. 3.5 I think is probably about right for the review, if I'm honest with you. And yeah, 3.5 TARDISes out of 5. So let's see how that fits with the rest of the reviews so far. Out of all reviews done so far, the Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang sits in with the Aztecs, the Leisure Hive, Vengeance and Varos, the War Machines, Amy's Choice, the whole of the Trial of the Time Lord, the 5 Doctors, and the Christmas Invasion. At the top still, with 4.5 TARDISes out of 5, are the Happiness Patrol, Inferno, the Day of the Doctor, the Caves of Androzani, the Tomb of the Cybermen, and Dalek. That's it. Thanks very much, guys, for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and share it with the hashtag teamstructor, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you know when a new video comes out. General rule, there's a new video every Sunday at 4 PM GMT. There's first impressions on at the moment for my first impressions of Series 12 of Doctor Who. They're on Mondays at 6 PM GMT, and check out next week as a Kidstructor. Haven't decided what it's going to be yet, but I'm doing filming this week, so we'll see what I do in regards to that, because I'm filming potentially with friends again, so we'll see what Kidstructor is. But yeah, it's coming up anyway next Sunday at 4 PM GMT, and yes, thanks very much, guys, for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you later.